Hi, and welcome to Project 6. This week you are going to create a Vectorworks ground plan of the same space that you drew by hand in Project 3. You'll be using the same tools that you used last week, the layout, the wall tool, the door tool, the window tool, and then we're going to introduce stock furniture items into Vectorworks. So in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to draw this space. This is my home office, which I think is probably more similar to the spaces that most of you folks are drawing than my UCF office does. It's third bedroom, so it's basically a square room with some doors and a really weird window. This house was built in the 40s, and it has these windows that are wrap around the corners of the room. I'm confident that none of you have windows like this. But I'm going to draw a version of this window using the regular window tool. Otherwise, I would have to create a custom window, and that's a little advanced for this class, so we're not going to do that. But anyway, so we're just going to use the same process we used last week. I'm going to lay out the overall size of the room and mark where the doors and the windows go, and then use the wall tool to draw the walls, and the door tool to put in the doors, and the window tool to put in the windows, and then drop in some furniture. So to start, I'm going to draw the overall outline of the room, which in my case and in most of your cases is a square or a rectangle. I know there are a couple of you who have slightly odd shaped spaces, but just use the line tool or the rectangle tool or whatever is appropriate to create the outline of the space that you're going to draw. So in my case, it's a rectangle that's 11 feet square. So I'm going to go into Vectorworks and file. I'm going to open a new document. I'm going to use the CAD Spring 22 or whatever you saved the template as last week, and we can use that template. I'm going to open this up, and this should give us all of the tools that we were working with last time. And if you look closely, you'll see, I'm not sure if this will happen to you when you open it up, this is like super zoomed in. We're zoomed in at 30,000%. So I could just mouse out, or this is a handy tool. This is the fit to page area, which is basically the home tool. So if you click that, it will take you to here's the origin of the page. It will take you home. So you might want to start by clicking fit to page area and going home. So to start with, I want to make sure that I'm on one of the design layers. In this particular case, it doesn't matter whether we are on scenery or theater architecture, because we are in fact not drawing either one of those things. We could make a new layer that says room or house or something, but I think let's just work on the scenery layer. So make sure that you're on the scenery layer. To start your drawing, let's go ahead and put ourselves into the red layout pen under classes. So drafting pens layout. And then we can start drawing. So I'm going to start by drawing the square that defines my space. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool. I'm going to draw an 11-foot by 11-foot square. I'm going to insert it by its center, and I'm going to click right on the center of the page. And then I'm going to establish where the doors go. I know where the windows go because they're right in the corner, but we're going to establish where the doors go. So if I look back at my drawing, because this is in half-inch scale, I can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 2 feet. And these are closet doors. They're very skinny, so they're 2 feet doors. So on this wall, there's 2 feet, and then a 2-foot door, and then 2 feet, and then a 2-foot door. And on this wall, there's what would that be? 9 inches, and then a 2.5-foot wide door. So in order to set those up, I'm just going to draw a line here of random length, and I'm going to duplicate it, Command D, and put it on top there. I'm going to do that a couple more times. 1, 2, 3, that should be enough. Then I'm going to take this and move it 2 feet up. So 0x 2 feet y. So that's going to be the first 2-foot space. And then I'm going to take this one and move it up 4 feet. Now, obviously, you use your own dimensions. But I'm going to move this one up 6 feet. And so space, door, and then I'm going to move this one up 8 feet. Okay. Then I'm going to draw a line here. And I'm just going to draw 2 more lines on top of it. I could duplicate it, but that just seemed faster. So now I'm going to move this. I think we said that door started 9 inches to the right, so +9. And then I'm actually going to, so I don't have to do hard math, I'm going to move this line over to here, and then I'm going to move it the width of the door itself, which was 2 feet 6. All right, so that's where my doors go. I know that my window's in the corner, so I'm going to go ahead and group all this stuff together, Command G, so that I can grab it and get rid of it when I am done with the layout. Yes. Now seems like an excellent time to save my work. So we're going to save this as Bart's Project 6, I think. Okay. So now that we have that done, we're going to use the wall tool to draw the walls. So we're going to go to the little house, otherwise known as the building shell tool sets. We're going to select the wall tool. I'm going to go to wall tool preferences, and I'm going to set my wall thickness to 6 inches because I have an old house. If you live in a more modern house, you might have 4.5 or 5 inch thick walls. Or if you live in a really old house, you might have 12-inch thick walls, but 6 is a nice, easy default, so I'm going to set that to 6. So we're going to say 6, and I'm going to start here, I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to go to here. And all of your walls may be the same size, and that's perfectly acceptable. I'm going to go ahead and draw in my exterior walls as being 9 inches thick, just because I want to demonstrate that you can connect together walls of different thicknesses and the tool will still work. So now I'm going to click on the wall tool again and go back to preferences, and I'm going to change this to 9 inches. And then if I start here at the end and click here at the end, you'll see that I can join together walls that are of different thicknesses. So we're gonna select all of those now, and in Object Info, I'm going to change my class from layout to medium filled dark, so that we have our proper symbol for sectioned through walls. Then I'm going to start putting in doors. So I'm going to choose the door tool. Here we go. The preferences. It's going to think for a long time. So these doors are actually that I'm going to put in now are 24 inches wide, and they are swing doors. And that should be all the information that I need for right now. So the first one goes right between these two lines. So I'm going to hover my cursor here where it says point and hover it here so that it'll create a midpoint. And then I can click there. And that door, I believe, is swinging in the wrong direction. Let's take a look and see. So yeah, both of these doors, these are closets actually, so they both swing. All of these doors actually swing out into the room. So I need to change the direction of that one. So that one, so all of the doors are on the, well, these two are on the left-hand side. This is on the right-hand side. So I'm gonna just do this. I'll show you 2 ways of doing this. So I inserted this here. There's somewhere over here a command that says flip. There it is. Okay, so if I click flip, it will flip it around. There are 4 different options. So I can just keep flipping until I get the one that I want, which is that one. So that's one way of doing that. The other way of doing it is when you actually put the door in. So I'm going to hover here and hover here, and then hover here to get the center. When you actually put the door in, on the first click, you are saying where you want it to go, and then if you move the mouse around, it will rotate the door around. So once you get it in the position you want, then that could be your second click. So that's another way of making sure that the door is swinging in the right direction. So then those are the two closet doors. The actual door that lets you get into the room is here, and it's larger than the two closet doors. So I'm going to go to, let's see. I need to change this to 2 feet 6, but I just want to make you aware that if I change this right now to 2 feet 6, it will change that door that I've already inserted it because it was selected. So I have to unselect that door and go back to the door tool and click on preferences again in order to bring the dialog box up to change this to 2 foot 6. Okay. Then I'm going to hover here. It will create a midpoint. Well, it should create a midpoint. Let's zoom in. We're going to hover here and here. Midpoint. There we go. All right. And then we're going to put the door in like that. Okay. So far, so good. Now, and yes, these doors do in fact hit each other if you open them both at the same time. It's not exactly well thought out. So we're going to now select all of the doors and change their class to medium filled dark. And that takes care of that. Last week we went in and changed into settings and changed the class of just the jamb to make these parts dark. For these particular doors, and actually with most doors, you actually want the door itself, or the shutter. That's what the door part of the door is actually called. It's called the shutter. You want that to be dark too. So if we, in this particular case, if we just set the entire door to the dark class, then it will work. And then the last of the architectural features here is I need to put these two windows in. So if we go back and look at the drawing, these windows are 5 feet wide. And like I said before, I can't exactly draw this because this would require one window that excuse me, is L-shaped rather than two windows that meet in the corner. But I'm just to demonstrate the tool again, I'm going to put in two windows that almost meet in the corner like this. If any of you happen to have the same situation that I do with the windows that turn the corner, let me know and I'll show you how to actually create a new symbol, but it's not worth the effort if you don't actually have that. So we're going to go to the window tool. We're going to go to window tool preferences. I'm going to set my window to be, in my case, 5 feet wide. I'm going to make it a double hung window. A double hung window is sort of, at least what in my mind is the most common window. It's where you can open the window either from the bottom or the top. There are two sections, which is why it's double hung. So that's double hung window. Fixed glass is just a framed out piece of glass. Most people don't have that in their houses. This is the kind of thing that you find like in a light booth or something. Usually, some people have that, but casement is a window that you'll notice it looks just like the fixed glass, but it's a window that opens. Usually, it has a little crank. What else? Hopper. A lot of these look the same and plan, but most of us have either fixed glass, which is what all the windows on campus are, you can't open them, or casement window, double hung windows, which are windows that have a top and a bottom and you can open one or both of them. So I'm going to use that symbol. I'm going to insert it right here. Well, or not. That didn't seem to work. Let's try that again. Window. All right, I'm going to put it here. and you'll notice it inserts it so it doesn't go all the way to the end. Sort of, if I put it close to the end, it will insert it so that if you look at the center line of the wall, it will put it sort of in the center. You probably want to do the same thing with your windows that I did with my doors. Figure out the measurement where they are in the wall and draw in a reference point or something so you can figure out where to go do it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back these windows off so that they don't do exactly what they really do, but I'm going to leave basically a column in the corner rather than the windows actually meeting. But the real reason I want to do this is I want to show you how the move command works with symbols inserted in walls. So if I select one of these windows and I go to modify move, I'm going to get a different dialog box than I have been getting with move. You'll notice there's a direction here, and it's going to give me the available options. And the available options with this window is I can either move it left or right. You can't move it up or down because it wouldn't be in the wall anymore. So what I want to do is move this window to the left. And because I have, my wall is 9 inches thick and it's in the center of the wall, I'm going to move it to the left 4.5 inches. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to select this one, move, and I'm going to move it at one of the two directions here possible, or up or down. I'm going to move it down 4.5 inches. So I'm going to do that. You could use that command if you had a window that started over here at 3 feet from the edge of the wall. You could put it all the way at the end and then move it 3 feet to the right or whatever, rather than laying out the spacing to begin with. So there are usually a variety of different ways of doing these things. So now I'm going to select both of the windows and I'm going to change their class to medium fill dark, and there we have that. That should be all of the architecture for the room. Let's just take a look and see. So previews. All right, so we've got our walls, we've got our 2 windows that almost look like this, and then we've got our 3 doors. So walls, 2 windows, 3 doors. In case you're wondering why this is darkened in like this, where it wasn't last week, this is showing the frame of the window itself in this where the upper and the lower meet. We're actually sectioning or cutting through that. So that's what the dark part is here. So now I can select my layout and delete it. And the last thing I need to do here is go in and set the class of the wall lines of the doors to be dashed so that they look like they're supposed to. So we're going to go into settings, and then 2D visualization. We're going to set attributes by class, and we're going to set the wall lines to drafting pens, then dash. Click OK. And hopefully it will think for a moment, and then set our lines to dash. So there is the architecture of the room. And our final step in the drafting here is to put in the furnishings. So we're going to go back to the drawing here. So there are 3 bookcases that are approximately 2.5 feet wide, 2 desks, and some various other stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is see what Vectorworks stock furniture is available. So if you go to the resource manager, and if you don't happen to have that open, window palettes resource manager, we'll open it. If you go to the resource manager, it has a great search function as long as you have all resources turned on here. And I'm going to look for bookcases. I'm just going to search bookcase and see what it gives me. And it will give me all sorts of bookcases. So I actually found this one earlier and it seemed like it was the right size. Sometimes in the description of the Vectorworks furniture, it will give you dimensions. Other times you just have to sort of guess and put it into the document and then look at it and see if it's the right size or not. But so in order to use these things, you just double click on them, and then you may get a message that says that it needs to download it. And then you click twice. Usually you can click once to sort of insert and once to rotate. So the second click inserts it, and then you can just look at it and see if it's the right size, or in this case I'm going to just check. I'm going to draw a line here, so 2.5 feet, so that's about the right size for that bookcase. So if you have an odd something that you need to put into your drawing that you can't find in the Resource Manager, you could also just draw the shape. This actually inserts it in 3D. So if we look at it from here, you can see there's the bookcase. But for the purposes of the ground plan, at least, and actually for the purposes of the rest of these drawings, just the symbol is fine. We typically don't draw drawings of furniture unless we are going to actually build it. So frequently all you need is the top symbol of a piece of furniture. But so there's that bookcase. And now let's see, where are the others? There's one sort of in these two corners here. So good, I can just duplicate this one if I want to. Modify, rotate right. I put that one right there-ish. And then just to use another tool, I could duplicate it again, but I'm going to use the mirror tool, and I'm going to draw the mirroring line on a 45-degree angle. I'm going to put that one there. I think that one actually needs to go more into the corner because I believe there's a desk that needs to fit. It's kind of an awkward corner there. Let's see. Yeah, there's a desk. So there are two desks. And these desks are 1, 2, 3, about 4 feet by 30 inches, about 4 feet by 30 inches. I don't know that there's a Vectorworks desk that's that small, but let's see. Desk. 30 by 60, that's definitely too big. 60 is 5 feet. I want like 4 feet. Some expensive desks. 30 by 60. No, that's 30 by 62, or 30 by 60 also. Right, this isn't exactly what this desk looks like, but it's close to the right size. So it's 45 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. It's going to take a minute to download. So this desk sits in front of this window, like that. And then this one crowds the door, like that. Then each desk, of course, has a chair. So we're going to look for desk chair. Really? There's only one chair? That's not true. I know that Vectorworks has hundreds of chairs. Maybe I get rid of the word desk. Okay, so sometimes just like searching the internet, you wonder why when you search chair you get a table, but at any rate. Oh, okay, just for the, it's not what the chair looks like either, but just for the sake of speed, I'm gonna put, come on, go away, stop it. I'm gonna put this chair here, click, and then click and rotate. I'm gonna hold on Shift to make it insert straight. Click again, then we'll roll over here. There are a couple of other things. There's like a short filing cabinet here, and there's like a CPU stand thing over here. Anyway, if there was a bed in this room, there are plenty of beds and dressers and all sorts of things. So feel free to just browse through the furniture and find something close to what you need, because this isn't, I don't really care that you accurately represent your space. I don't care what your space looks like. I'm just teaching you how to use the tools, right? So so fill out your space with the proper furniture, and then once you're done with that, we're going to viewport this, view, create viewport. And it should, unless you're doing a large space, it should fit on your 11 by 17 sheet. I think you guys, you folks, created 11 by 18 or 12 by 18 sheets with Rob, which is a common European size. I went ahead and put 11 by 17 sheets into the template that I sent you last week, because that's the common size in the US that is the largest size available on most Xerox machines. You can copy things that are larger, but 11 by 17 is widely available. So that's why I tend to default to that as being the sheet that's in that range. So we're going to put it on the 11 by 17 layer. There it is. If you want to add some annotations, double click annotations, and then just add some labels. So we've got a bookcase. It looks like I'm still on layout, so I should change this to probably dimension. Yes, please. All right, so there's bookcase. I'm going to go ahead and change this to dimension. Or I'm also just going to copy this, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to put that there, put that there. I'm going to put this here, put this here. We're going to modify right, rotate right. Then obviously this is a desk. And in these things, usually the convention is if something is super obvious, you don't need to label it. Like if we label that this is a desk, it's, at least to me, super obvious that that's a chair. So you don't really have to label chair. Or if you have a table and chairs, you can probably just label table and not have to label the chairs, or you can label it table and chairs. So don't go crazy with the labeling. Just for practice, you might want to put in some dimensions. We normally don't do a lot of dimensions on the ground plans for the theater and entertainment work, because usually those dimensions are on later plans. So rarely do people actually build anything from a ground plan. Usually the ground plan is just showing us where things are, and other plans like the elevations that we're going to work on next week show us what the actual sizes of things are. But sort of just for practice, you might want to mention some things. Well, these dimensions are just all over the map. And the reason for that is because this is a 2-foot door, but that 2 feet is the dimension of the hole. It's not including the frame of the door. So if I wanted to make this a little cleaner, it would actually, the dimensions would be like this. Why is that? I put 11.25, really? That's interesting. So this should be here, that should be there, this would go to here. Right, this would go to here. And then here's a trick. In dimensions, there's this something called precision. I can just tell this no fractions and it will clean it up. So that makes unless it's really important that something is dimensioned to within 5/8 of an inch, usually within an inch is fine for what we do. And honestly, if you can have nice round numbers, like 2 feet 3 is better than 2 feet 2 and 5/8 just because it's cleaner. It's really rare that you need anything on stage to be that precise. So if you can clean the drawing up so that it's got nice round numbers, that is often useful. Now, there are times when you really need it to be super precise, but often clean will get you better results, because the more complicated and messy the drawing is, the more likely the shop is to make a mistake in building it. So add dimensions as you see necessary. Update your title block to reflect that this is project 6 and you are you, not me. And this is today, not last week. And that should be the project. And then if you will export this as a PDF and turn it into web courses, you will be done with this project. All right, have fun.